It's time now for Mental Health Matters with your host, Lisa Reimer. Mental Health Matters is graciously underwritten by New Vision Eye Center, world-class eye care on the Treasure Coast. New Horizons thanks Dr. Paul Minotti, Dr. Stephen Tate, Dr. Robert Reinauer, and Dr. David O'Brien. Now, here's Lisa Reimer.
Mental health matters. Yes, emotional well-being is vitally important, but it's more than just that. Mental health issues can impact a person's physical health. It can influence their behavior and even dictate the course of an entire life. Hello, my name is Lisa Reimer, and I'm the host of Mental Health Matters and a communication officer for New Horizons of the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee. And if you haven't heard of us, we're the largest mental health and addiction recovery agency in this region. We serve 14,000 children and adults, regardless of their ability to pay. In fact, 57% of New Horizons clients have no source of income or insurance, and yet no one is turned away due to lack of financial resources. We have 9 offices across 4 counties, and our main campus is located in Fort Pierce with 100 inpatient beds. We have adult and children crisis units, and we also have a detox and 28-day substance abuse program. So today's mental health matter is Veterans Court, and here to talk about that is Judge Cynthia Cox from the 19th Circuit, is that correct?
19th Judicial Circuit.
19th Judicial Circuit, and Deb Dreher, who's our Chief Clinical Officer at New Horizons. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Cynthia, what is Veterans Court? I had never heard of this.
Veterans Treatment Court. So in the 19th Circuit, you've heard of our diversion courts, right?
Yes.
Which we refer to as our problem-solving courts. And the focus or the purpose of those courts is to divert individuals that enter the criminal justice system from incarceration into treatment or services that they need. In 2013, we started our Indian River County Veterans Treatment Court, and we've tried to expand it and enhance it, and it's available for eligible veterans. That means veterans that have either been honorably or generally not and dishonorable discharge from the military, the different branches of the U.S. military and armed forces, I should say. So, of course, they have to be arrested for something, and it can be a felony, a non-violent felony, or a misdemeanor. And if they are identified, and we do have a process that we undertake, the Indian River County Jail identifies veterans upon their arrest at the first appearance, and we ask them, or we refer them to our, what we call a VJO, Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator, to find out if they're eligible. And we have a case manager that will explain the program to them. And then they come and they observe our Veterans Treatment Court, which is on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock.
Here in Indian River County?
In Indian River County.
Now, do we have these courts set up all across the region in Martin County, St. Lucie County, Okeechobee County?
Only in St. Lucie right now.
Okay.
We're hoping to expand them soon.
Okay. And now you are the one who started drug court here in this region, which was a diversionary program as well. And we've had tremendous success with that. Is that the inspiration for the Veterans Treatment Court?
Basically, it's the same premise. I was first involved with a group of people that began the drug treatment court in 2002, and then Judge Hawley actually was the impetus for the Veterans Treatment Court in 2013, and then in January of 2015 we started the Mental Health Court here in Indian River County through Sheriff Lohr and Diamond Liddy, and I took over the Veterans Treatment Court shortly after that, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. We always say, we send our veterans off to protect us and keep us safe and keep our Constitution strong, but when they come home, they're not really home. Many of them that served in combat have all types of issues, from alcohol, mental illness, drugs, substance abuse, PTSD, homelessness. It's just a myriad of issues that they go through. And we have the program set up so that we can connect them with the VA, and the VJO, which works for the VA, is right in court with their computer and identifies and sets them up with any services they need, and it's just a fabulous program.
So I'm going to come to Deb and ask her to talk a little bit about PTSD, and so we can relate that to our military service people.
Yeah, PTSD certainly isn't limited to the military, but many of our veterans have PTSD, obviously, as a result of combat and other experiences. The four big symptoms of PTSD are hypervigilance, which is kind of watching your surroundings and not feeling safe in them. I always explain to people that that's like the mafia boss who sits in the corner at a restaurant and eyes darting and looking around. Re-experiencing or reenacting the events in an intrusive way. So they often have nightmares about what they went through, or they're in an experience with somebody and they just suddenly revision those awful experiences. Hyperarousal speaks to the issue of quickly becoming anxious, agitated. A lot of them have anger management issues as a result. If you're looking at the symptomatology of one of your loved ones, you'll see anger management, sleeplessness, restlessness, jitteriness, agitation. And the fourth one is avoidance and withdrawal behaviors. Very often when our veterans particularly come home from war, families expect them to be happy and they feel safe, and here you are at home with your loved ones. And in fact, all that love and affection sometimes is difficult to tolerate when you're still processing those combat experiences. And what you'll see is, in some people, avoidance behaviors, withdrawal, not participating in family or friend events, those kinds of things.
And so how does PTSD intersect with addictions, substance use disorders? Like alcohol and drug use?
There are two ways that they would intersect. A lot of people look at substance use disorders on top of PTSD as being sort of a self-medication. But in addition, when people are traumatized, it activates all of the biological stress system and actually alters the pathways through the brain whereas I tell a quick story about, let's say you're at Publix and you forgot your wallet and you're going through the parking lot with a cart and somebody taps you on the shoulder. I would turn around and it might be the bag guy saying, "Here, ma'am, you forgot your wallet." Somebody else being tapped on the shoulder, particularly with PTSD, may turn around with fists up, right? So that's because they have a well-developed stress pathway and they immediately expect danger or difficult.
That's like that fight or flight kind
like
of.
Fight or flight is the perfect
so they're
example.
Always sort of poised for fight or flight.
Poised for a fight. And so when you have those alterations in the pathways, you have actual biochemical changes that take place with I don't want to get too technical, but the chemicals in the brain that transmit nerve impulses. And so you may have lowered levels of one thing and higher levels of another, and that predisposes you to easily get stuck with substances. You take a few and you get addicted very quickly.
So basically, our guys our men and women are coming back from overseas, seeing combat, may have PTSD, and that can just lead to substance use and self-medicating.
Yeah, and with veterans in particular, if you were injured, you may have been put on pain medication that may be very hard to get off of. Which we
spoke about with Judge Lynn in a recent interview, and And he was actually saying that that's one of the reasons why drug court, it's hard to get off. These people did not do something illegal necessarily to get addicted to this stuff.
The
So
opiates, yeah.
Right.
we're helping them.
I do know that the VA, I went to a conference 2 years ago where the VA has a very strict oversight over their pain medication processes. They have rules and regulations, and they peer review, the physicians peer review when you get up to a certain level of pain medication. But people do have pain as a result of combat experiences. So, it's a tightrope.
So going back to, these are some of the reasons then, of course, you started
Absolutely.
Veterans Treatment Court,
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
And what are you seeing? These are the things that you see?
Well, yes, I see all of, substance abuse, opiate abuse, and I just wanted to mention the VA has an excellent medicated assisted treatment program.
Wonderful.
They're using Suboxone, and we have at least 2 of our participants. We currently have 18 participants in our program. We've had up to, through this date, approximately 184. And we did a graduation on July 23rd. 3 of our graduates, they were all Army branch. They kind of have a competition among them. But we just had a graduation, and we're always happy when someone completes our program and we have a ceremony. And I have to talk about our mentors, so don't forget to let me address our mentors, because they're a very important part of our program. But yeah, I see a lot of traumatic brain injuries, substance abuse, anger management. We have a PTSD clinic in Port St. Lucie that a few of our men, right now we just graduated our only female. We've had about 10 or 11 females to date, but as of July, the end of July, we have all men. We have no women. So we have a couple of our men that are going to the PTSD clinic in Port St. Lucie. And
receiving therapy, and
they go to groups, the PTSD groups, and it's very intensive for them. It's very traumatic for them to relive those experiences.
No, I know, because as a reporter in a previous incarnation, trying to learn more about PTSD in returning vets, and there are programs right here at the Victory Center in Indian River County at the mall. They're very private.
Right.
They don't, and then they have the motorcycle clubs.
Yes.
And they don't do a lot of talking. Like I want to talk about it. They do a lot of social bonding, just knowing that each other is there, for watching each other's back, and doing social things, and they know that they have this shared experience. So I'm interested to learn more about
the mentors and the battle buddies.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to say first, when someone comes into Veterans Treatment Court, we welcome them, and I ask them a lot of questions, and we've been through training, so I'm trained not to ask, especially the individuals that were in combat, to ask them a lot of details about the work they did, even though I try to find out as much as I can about each person so I can get to know them and bond with them. It's a different court. You actually bond and you feel like you're part of a family.
Are you sitting on the dais?
Yes, I am. But it's a different hat. You put on, instead of your punishment role, you put on a different compassionate role, and you connect. It's not that you don't have that punishment role. I mean, if they violate or they don't do what they're supposed to do, certainly I can slam the gavel and put them in jail. But when I'm trying to initially welcome someone and find out a little bit about them, I ask a lot of questions about where they came from and what kind of work they did in the military, which branch they served in, all about themselves. And it's sometimes very awkward. The VJO has interviewed or done an assessment, is what you guys call it, right? Done an assessment and will tell me, this is a touchy, they have PTSD, or this is an area that don't ask them about. And through our training, we learn through certain positions, even though I don't always understand the positions, that the way they identify what kind of work they do is different from a lay person's terms. And so sometimes I want them to explain, and it can trigger some things if they were in combat. So I try not to do that too much, or I'm really careful to do that. But once they come in and we get to know them, we assign them a mentor and we set their treatment up, and they go there and they come to court every few weeks, and we monitor how well they're doing and address any issues they have, refer them for services. And
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the mentors. We're going to talk about some of the symptoms of that people may be seeing in their military spouse or sibling or family member, and what they can do to get the help that they need. So we'll be right back.
17 people are dead on the tracks. Where is Governor DeSantis? There are no state regulations for trains going faster than 80, and Virgin trains will go over 100 miles an hour through our towns. No regulations. The Florida Alliance for Safe Trains is asking you to contact local officials and the governor and say, make them safe. Go to our Facebook page, Florida Alliance for Safe Trains, or our website and get more information. Call the governor today.
Come to Mulligan's. Not only will you savor great food and drinks, but you will also do so enjoying the best view of the Atlantic Ocean in all of Vero. Whether it's starting the week with a sunrise breakfast or enjoying a sun-filled day with live music on the weekend, you'll feel like you're on vacation. Try their monster fish and chips, lobster roll, or cool, crisp salads alongside their legendary tropical drinks. It's all waiting for you and the entire family at Mulligan's Beach House on Beachland Boulevard, Vero Beach.
This year, let the professionals at Premier Landscape Solutions enhance your property's curb appeal. Our expert design team can help turn your tired landscaping into the perfect backyard and create a customized care plan that will keep your property looking great year-round. 772-925-0030. Visit our website at VeroBeachLandscaping.com. From bare bones to beautiful, let us transform your space today.
We don't make excuses, we make results. Premier Landscape Solutions.
Hello, residents of Indian River County. Please help stamp out recycling cart contamination by recycling right. That means no garbage and no plastic bags or plastic wrap in your blue recycling cart. Contamination could cost you money and your blue cart. So let's recycle right and recycle often. For more information, visit ircrecycles.com.
Visit us at ircrecycles.com. Indian River County. Roll with us, recycle.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters. I'm Lisa Reimer, and if you're just joining us, we have Cynthia Cox, Judge Cynthia Cox from the 19th Judicial Circuit, and Deb Dreher, who is New Horizons Chief Clinical Officer, and we're talking about Veterans Treatment Court. Cynthia, so what kinds of infractions do you see in front of you when people come into Veterans Court?
it's primarily felonies. It's a myriad.
Non-violent, though.
Non-violent felonies. Theft, drug-related. It's, everything, really. There's not one that stands out, trespass, but majority of them are felonies. I think right now I have 2 misdemeanor cases. That one was a theft. One was a felony grand theft where they stole from Walmart for no reason. And others are battery on a law enforcement officer, like when they're at the emergency room, and they spit or punch one of the workers there. I have got a couple of those.
Okay, so let's just say they do something, they get arrested. How do they end up in Veterans Treatment Court?
So, like I said, the jail identifies them and
As a
they're
veteran.
right? And then they come and observe Veterans Court if they want to. I mean, we don't get a lot of them. I get a list every day of the veterans, and the attorneys will reach out and ask the felony or the misdemeanor judge if they want to be involved in Veterans Court. And then they'll come and observe Veterans Treatment Court, and we'll ensure that they're qualified through our VJO. And if they're interested, then we'll have their assessment, and they will have their treatment plan through the Veterans Administration. They will be assigned a mentor, which we call Battle Buddy. And
what is that process?
The mentor. So our mentors are our angels. Without our mentors, our program would just not be successful. So they're a group of gentlemen, and there was one lady at one time, but right now it's all gentlemen, and they go through a mentor boot camp to be battle buddies to these veterans.
Are they all veterans?
Yes, yes. And they have their mentor coordinator that's in charge and will assign each veteran a mentor. And the mentor communicates with the veteran and explains the system is there for them, kind of like, I don't want to say an AA sponsor, but they do provide that. It's a battle buddy.
Right.
They've been there, they can relate, they they aren't advocates, they aren't attorneys, they aren't
they're a peer
guardians, but they're more like a peer.
Yeah.
Right,
There's
exactly.
a lot of research to support the idea in many areas for having peers, and that people do better when they have peers or mentors. So that's wonderful.
Are they paid?
No, they're all volunteers. But let me tell you how it started, because this is a very interesting story. My good friend Judge Russell from Buffalo, New York, was overseeing a court. He was a county judge at that time, and he had court, and he noticed that this gentleman, I believe he was in drug court. It was drug or mental health court, was coming in, and the guy would come and stand and not say too much. And he tried to ask him some questions like we do as a diversionary judge. And he found out that the guy was in the military, and he had someone that he was acquainted with that happened to be in the courthouse that was in the military. And he sent this guy, I think he was part of the drug court team maybe, and he sent the guy outside to talk with the veteran. And he came back in, and it was a totally different person when he had that veteran there with him. And so Judge Russell, and we just celebrated the anniversary of the first Veterans Treatment Court 10 years ago in Buffalo, New York, created the Veterans Treatment Court as a result of that. We were honored last year to receive a grant to have him come with Justice for Vets and train us here in Indian River County. And we also, our whole team went to Buffalo and saw their program and met with their mentors, and it's just a fabulous experience. So that's a little bit of history of how the mentors started. And our mentors here are so devoted. They will ensure that the veteran is hooked up with the local VA services. They've got VA housing through every dream is a price, or every price is a dream. I always get it backwards.
Every dream has a price.
Every dream has a price. It serves veterans. So they make sure that they all have housing. If they need VA, they'll check out their benefits and help them apply for benefits, and just be there for them. I just can't say enough about our veteran mentors.
No, the Veterans Council and the other agencies, Vietnam, those
are the ones.
Vets, right? They're all doing amazing work here in Indian River County.
Those are them.
And across the Treasure Coast. I remember that the paper did some study, like we're one of the most veterans supporting communities in the nation.
They're awesome. At the graduation in July, each veteran mentor comes and gives the veteran a hat from the branch that they served in, and we have coins that are special to the Veterans Treatment Court, and then they give them, I believe it's either a keychain or something else, and they have a speech and give them a certificate, and it's very, very special.
Now, I am somewhat familiar with mental health court because we're involved with mental health court, and I have been interviewing about the drug court. So do we do some of the same things, assign them a case manager who links them to resources that they're eligible for?
It's a little bit different, and we're trying to get a case manager. Hopefully next year we can apply for a grant and actually get a case manager. But right now we rely on the VJO that will they report into, and that will hook them up with the services through the VA. Then we have our court case manager.
Veterans Justice Outreach?
Yes, through the Veterans Administration. And then we have our court case manager that checks on their drug tests and kind of goes over their paperwork with them.
And do we have any statistics on the success of the program at this point?
The recidivism rate is less than 10%.
What was it?
Well, in regular court, it's over 75. It's 75 to 80% in a regular felony court. Yes,
10%. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so I know that in mental health court in St. Lucie, which you started, that we went from 78% recidivism. That's people who are identified with mental health issues returning to jail, down to 11%.
At one point, we were 5. We've gone up to 11 recently.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, how did we slip up there?
Are you still involved?
Well, I was, and I haven't lately because I'm back in Indian River. So, yeah, no, I'm focusing on Indian River, and I'm going back to family court. So, yeah.
So actually, we have more to talk about. We're going to do this show as a 2-part program. If you would like to see the first half of the program, you can check us out on our Facebook page at New Horizons Mental Health. And if you want to hear part 2, we're going to continue, and we may put these in 2 videos, and we'll have these 2 weeks in a row on the radio. So we'll be back for more, and thank you for joining us.